Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are now going live. I'm Julie Flygar. I'm the president and CEO of Project Sleep, and I'm joining you from Los Angeles. And so excited to introduce you guys to Iris Vasconcelos. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
And where are you, Iris?
So I'm in Portugal. It's very late here, but I'm good, thank you.
How late is it?
1 a.m.
Wow. I do feel like that I've seen you on some broadcasts before. So do you normally end up staying up a little bit late?
Yeah, because most of the people that are aware of narcolepsy are in America, and you guys love to make me, keep me up.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm used to it. I have insomnia.
Uh, you guys are in for a treat tonight to hear Iris's story. I'm so excited for this broadcast. We were just reflecting before we went live that I guess it's just been a little bit under a year that Iris and I have connected and that she first saw a Rising Voices video.
Yeah. Yep. I was first inspired by the Rising Voices to share my story.
Wow. And I just can't believe it's only been a little bit less than a year because you already feel like such a huge part of this community
Thank
and part
you.
of my life and Project Sleep. So
Yeah.
before Iris gets started sharing her story, though, I just quickly want to give people a few updates about Project Sleep.
Mhm.
So probably the biggest update I should probably share is that I know a few of you have been asking us about how many members of Congress we got signed on to the letter that supports the importance of sleep research and sleep awareness work. And I want to say thank you to all of those who reached out to their members of Congress across the US. It was our biggest by far our biggest grassroots advocacy effort we've ever had as a community, and it was pretty incredible, overwhelming, exciting, all the things, all the feels. And I just wanted to let you know that we hope to have a final number of representatives to share with you within the next few days. There was a delay in getting that information to you because sadly, one of the members of Congress who actually signed on or said they were going to sign on, after he said that, he actually passed away. And so his office, we've been working with them to see if they were still planning to sign on to the letter or not after his passing. And so we're trying to be respectful of their process, but we will have the letter finalized in the next couple of days. And the number of co-signers will depend on, whether that office decides to sign on or not, but it's still a huge number and really, really exciting. So thank you guys again. I just wanted to explain the delay. Someone said, did I miss the announcement? And no, we just had a little bit of a delay behind the scenes for a very sad reason indeed. But we will have that soon. What else is there going on? There's a lot. We have a narcolepsy nerd alert. Our next one will be on Wednesday, and that is going to be talking about friends and family and narcolepsy. So we have two very special guests, Ann Taylor, who is a mother of a daughter who was in her early teens when she was diagnosed with narcolepsy and sleep apnea. And we have Lauren Thomas, who is a woman living with narcolepsy. And so they will be our two special guests on that broadcast. So join us on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern for that. And I'm sure I'm going to forget other things, but right now, those are the major things. So, and just a quick reminder, please, as you guys are watching, please comment where you're watching from. It's really fun to see all the different locations that people are tuning in from around the world to hear Iris's story tonight. And as Iris says stuff that resonates with you, please make comments and share this video onto your Facebook page and give us lots of hearts and thumbs up, because all that engagement really helps Facebook know that this is an engaging video and shares it with more people, even in our own, community. So we really appreciate all of your engagement. And one quick reminder always that we do this for educational and awareness purposes. We're not doctors ourselves. So if anything about Iris's story resonates with you and that you have questions about your own medical situation, please bring those to your sleep specialist or your narcolepsy specialist. So, all right, with that, I think that is the everything I should preface this with. And then Iris, you want to go ahead and pull up your slides and I'll introduce you?
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Let me just got a little bit technologically challenged, but I'm getting there. Okay.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and introduce you. So Iris Vasconcelos is an advocate for invisible illnesses, a freelance writer, and a blogger from Portugal. She was diagnosed with narcolepsy at 28 years old after experiencing symptoms for 13 years. As a speaker with Project Sleep's Rising Voices of Narcolepsy program, she is telling her story with the hope of empowering others to do the same. So it is my huge honor and privilege today to introduce you guys to Iris. So take it away, Iris.
Thank you, Julie. Like you so rightly said, thank you very much. It's been a long, amazing year. Feels like longer. So I'm really excited to be telling my story. And yeah, so just let me give you a little bit of background because, a bit confusing my life. So I was actually born in Portugal, where I'm living now currently, but my family's from Angola. However, obviously we are well-rounded people who like to travel. So I grew up in the UK, hence the British accent. As you can see in this image, that's my beautiful family. My mom is the one with the huge glasses that you can see, the 80s glasses. And then you have my sister, older sister Solange in the right-hand corner, and my middle sister, Ariane, and the weird little kid, that's me. So that's, us here in this very house in Portugal a long time ago. And at the age of 7, I decided, like my mom and I moved to London. And, I was very normal child. I was very confident, extremely loud, rambunctious, let's say. But when I moved to London, I didn't know any English. And I think that definitely had, a little bit teased at school, let's say, because obviously kids, they're teased about anything. And I couldn't understand a word they were saying for a very long time. And, I was not very good at it. And basically, I kind of lost a little bit of that confidence that I had at that age. I lost, that voice. And so I kind of made it my mission to be really good at English, because that's what my mom taught me. Whenever you have a problem, you fix it and you find a solution. So moving on to my teen years, I had really almost no symptoms at all, but my symptoms were kind of divided into 2 different stages. So my first symptoms kind of began in the first stage when I was 15. And there was one particular moment when I was 15 years old and I was with my friends in school, playground, lunchtime. And basically I had a really, really funny friend and he was hilarious. He always made everybody laugh. And I remember on that particular day, he said something that made me laugh. But as I went to laugh, it's like my voice got trapped and my cheeks started to shake and my knees felt really weak. And it felt like it just lasted a lifetime where I just felt my voice felt trapped and no laughter would come out. And I really felt like everybody must have seen it and were thinking, what a weirdo. But I looked around and, after it passed, nobody noticed. So I kind of ignored it, I thought, okay, that was weird, but it continued to happen, ever since that day. Every time I would feel an emotion, strong emotion, that would happen. So a year later, I started having another symptom. And that was basically when I was 16. I remember it very clearly because it was one of the scariest experiences of my life. And I went to bed and I was sleeping and everything was normal. And suddenly I felt like I woke up in exactly the same position. But for some reason, my entire body was frozen. I couldn't move. I couldn't open my eyes or anything. And it was very scary, but it started to get scarier when I felt this presence in the room. And there was like, basically I had a bunk bed. So it's like, even though I was, only child, let's say. And through the bottom, I could see this darkness in the middle of the corner, even with my eyes closed. Don't ask me how. And it just felt evil. It felt really scary. Like I knew, I don't know how, but I knew it wanted to hurt me. It did. And I could feel it getting closer and closer. And as much as I tried, I could not get my body to move. So, I really couldn't get over that experience. And after a while, basically, it just kept happening. And moving on to my second symptoms. So I went to uni, and in uni, they kind of started a little bit. But my second symptoms really started when I decided to move to Angola at the age of 24. And, my sister was pregnant for the first time with my niece. And I thought, hey, okay, and let's get to know my roots and kind of have this adventure. And I think the heat was really impacting on my symptoms, and I didn't realize it at the time. So, and obviously having a different culture, a different lifestyle in Angola, people are very warm, very lively, we have a very big social scene. And, it's very different to what I'd grown up with. So, we would go out to like dancing a lot, and till really, really late. So parties would start at 10 in the evening and finish at about 9, 10 in the morning. And, working every single day. And then from Friday, basically carrying on to, to this party, you kind of don't, it's 24 hours without sleep. So one day I'm at this particular party with my friends and we're dancing, having fun. It's 9 a.m. in the morning. And I remember I like to kind of just last all night. So I didn't drink alcohol that day because I'm really not in the mood. It's so hot, you just need to drink water. And I started to feel really dizzy, just extremely dizzy. Like I needed to sit down, and I didn't tell my friends because I was a bit embarrassed. I knew I was feeling sleepy. And I find my way, I told them I'm going to the toilet, I find my way through the crowd. And I don't even realize it, but I just lean against the first thing I see. And it's actually one of those huge, loud speakers, with the music like pumping. And I fell asleep against that speaker, against that loud music, standing up. And all I remember is waking up, however much later. And there's a guy that I don't know, like tapping me and saying, hey, are you okay? Do you need water? Do you need food? Are you feeling well? And I remember I was like, oh, he clearly thinks I must be drunk. And as sad as this is, I actually said, yeah, I don't feel very well. I think at the time I thought I would rather him think I'm drunk than him know that I'm sleepy. Especially because in Angola, it's just not socially acceptable, for you to be sleepy in a club, in a social setting. So that was very embarrassing, a moment at a time. And, fast forward about a year later, I changed jobs. I went to a new company. And this is what happened. Basically, first week of my job, I'm really excited, a little bit nervous, how everybody is. And my boss calls me in. He wants to brief me, give me my new clients because I like marketing. And I'm sitting down, and I remember it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon that he said we were going to have the meeting. And I was already panicking because by that time I had already had many moments of falling asleep, during the work hours. And I knew that 3 o'clock in the afternoon was after lunchtime. And that was the worst time he could have called me in for a meeting. So I was extremely panicking on the inside. And I remember sitting down with him at the meeting. And I mean it, guys, like I'm sitting face to face with him, my notebook in my hand. I'm writing it down and I'm like, okay, I cannot fall asleep. I cannot fall asleep. That is like impossible. And I don't really remember what happened after that. I remember him saying, okay, thank you very much. You can go back to your desk now. And it was almost an hour later. And I remember walking back to my desk and sitting down, feeling a little bit confused because I had no memory of the meeting at all. And I remember looking down at my notes and I had written, but it was complete scribble. I could not understand my notes. I think I got lucky that day because my boss decided to send me like a small briefing of everything that we had talked about, because otherwise I would have had no clue at all. So basically, you fast forward again, and even though this happens, I kept ignoring it for the next 3 years. So by this time, I'm basically 28 years old, and I just thought, I don't know, I just thought it was something that was just me. But there was one week in my life that kind of changed everything. So it was this Tuesday that it all started. There were two particular moments that week that really didn't allow me to ignore what was happening to me anymore. And on that Tuesday, me and my friend are driving, I'm driving, she's in the passenger seat. It's 12 p.m. in the afternoon, hot blazing sun. I'm feeling great. We're going to, we've just come back from lunch. We're going back to work. And I'm driving down this long road, and out of nowhere, I felt fine. Out of nowhere, I just feel this blanket of darkness just overwhelm me and just come. It's like a hood that was just put over my eyes and just slowly going down my whole body. And I felt a weakness that I can't describe. It was so quick that I didn't even have a moment to warn my friend that I was going down. Like I was literally had no control over it. And my hands were gripping the wheels and I could feel the grip getting weaker, and the wheels started turning to the right. And obviously, luckily, my friend was in the car with me and she felt the car turning. She screamed my name. And I was literally like kind of shocked out of that moment. And I really promised myself that would never happen again, because if there had been any cars on that right hand side of the road, because there was a lane, then it could have been disastrous. So still ignoring. And fast forward 2 days later, it's Thursday, and I'm getting home from work, 6 p.m. I'm starving. I don't really like to cook. So I have noodles at home as backup always. And I just think, okay, let me put the noodles on, 5 minutes, put it in the hob, sit down on the couch, and I think, oh, thank God, 5 minutes is going to be really quick. And however much later, I remember waking up, and it's a very strange moment because I'm kind of confused. I smell smoke and I don't know where it's coming from. And I think, okay, it must be my neighbor, because sometimes they cook outside and we share a balcony. But I could feel it strong, very strong, as if it was coming from the inside. So I kind of had to do this process in my head, like, wait, what was I doing? Okay, I came home. Oh, I was hungry. Oh, wait, I was cooking. And that's when everything clicked into place. And I ran to the kitchen, and, the whole pot was on fire. And it was just a very scary moment that I just kind of realized, okay, I need to see what's wrong with me, because this is becoming dangerous to my life. So I sat down the very second I started researching everything you can possibly think of on the internet, writing down, why do I fall asleep at work? Why can't I stop falling asleep during the day? Why like I keep falling asleep and it's getting dangerous. I literally typed everything until I came across the word narcolepsy. And that's when I get on the phone and I video called my sisters. And basically that was the first time that I ever shared my these symptoms with anyone, because I had not told anybody. I was very embarrassed by it. So my sisters are very, we've all kind of like I said, very, there's a problem, we solve it. So we find solutions. And, they said, okay, we're gonna, Angola is not the best place in terms of medical care. And, they basically said, okay, my mom lives in Portugal, so let's put you on a plane. And, at least there we'll know for sure if you do have what you think you have or not. And let's say, on the Monday I got on the plane, and this Thursday I was being diagnosed with narcolepsy. So the doctor explained to me that narcolepsy is a chronic neurological disorder that impairs the brain's ability to regulate the sleep-wake cycle. It affects 1 in 2,000 people, 200,000 Americans, and 3 million people worldwide. I actually did find a statistic about the UK. So in the NHS website, there's currently 30,000 people diagnosed in the UK. And I found one site, which is RTP, it's RTP, so it's the National Portuguese, basically the broadcast channel in 2018, where they said that 500 people in Portugal were diagnosed with narcolepsy. I do want to reiterate that it may be inaccurate due to the lack of awareness in Portugal and stigma that there currently exists towards sleep disorders. So, next slide. Yeah, so the major symptoms of narcolepsy are excessive daytime sleepiness, so periods of extreme sleepiness during the day that feel comparable to how someone without narcolepsy would feel after staying awake for 48 to 72 hours. Cataplexy, striking sudden episodes of muscle weakness, usually triggered by strong emotions such as laughter, exhilaration, surprise, anger. The severity may vary from a slackening of the jaw or buckling of the knees to falling down. The duration may be for a few seconds to several minutes, and the person remains fully conscious, even if unable to speak during the episode. So the sleepiness, you guys remember, me in the club, basically in the party, when I fell asleep, that was excessive daytime sleepiness. And all the times I would fall asleep at work and at the wheel and, at home, that was an example. And cataplexy, if you remember back to me at school, when I was with my friends and I felt that moment of, losing my voice, that was exactly what cataplexy is. And then we have hypnagogic and hypnopomic hallucinations. They are visual, auditory, or tactile hallucinations upon falling asleep or waking up. These can be very frightening and very confusing. And sleep paralysis, the inability to move for a few seconds or minutes upon falling asleep or waking up. It's often accompanied by hypnagogic or hypnopomic hallucinations. It's important to know that people without narcolepsy can experience these hallucinations and sleep paralysis. In fact, about 1/3 of all people experience these at some point in their lives, usually during periods of high stress or poor sleep. For people with narcolepsy, these are much more frequent and consistent over time. So when I was 16, that shadow that I kind of thought was, in my bedroom, it wasn't. That was a hallucination. And obviously me being frozen in my bed, that was an example of sleep paralysis. And then you have disrupted nighttime sleep. So unlike public perceptions, people with narcolepsy do not sleep all the time. Timing of sleepiness is off with narcolepsy, so one may fight sleepiness during the day, but struggle to sleep at night. And then we have automatic behavior. So it's the continuation of a routine activity with little conscious awareness and often without memory of it. So it kind of makes sense now, the episode that I had with my boss. It's like my body was awake, it was doing all the movements it was supposed to, but I had no memory or control over it during that period of time. So there are 2 forms of narcolepsy. Narcolepsy with cataplexy, which is type 1, and narcolepsy without cataplexy, which they call type 2. So recent research suggests that narcolepsy with cataplexy is caused by a lack of hypocretin, a key neurotransmitter that helps sustain alertness and regulate the sleep-wake cycle. Less is known about narcolepsy without cataplexy. And yes, I share this picture with you guys. So how is the diagnosis? This is a picture of me during my sleep study test. So diagnosis typically includes a 24-hour sleep study that includes a nighttime portion. The polysomnography, I really hate that word, daytime nap portion. So multiple sleep latency tests to record one's brainwaves. So the diagnosis is mainly based on how quickly and frequently one goes into rapid eye movement. That's REM and / dream sleep stage, obviously during these tests. And no, it is not comfortable. You are plugged into these wires, but you still fall asleep usually. And then treatment. So there's currently no cure for narcolepsy. Treatment for symptom management varies widely, by person, but may include wake promoting, histamine directed, or stimulant medications to increase alertness during the day. Nighttime medications to increase wakefulness and reduce cataplexy. Antidepressant medication to decrease occurrence of cataplexy, or scheduled daytime naps. So in my case, I kind of do all of them because, I do need to help during staying awake during the day. I don't really sleep. I have a lot of insomnia. Antidepressants for cataplexy and very, very religious daytime naps. So there are a few coping strategies that can also vary by person that may include social support, such as meetup groups or social media, and improvement in general health and wellness through sleep hygiene, diet, and fitness. So social media is definitely been a big part of my method of coping. Thanks definitely to Project Sleep from the beginning, like I said, Rising Voices was how I realized that there were people out there, that I could talk to who weren't going through the same thing as me. And with general health, keeping a good diet, especially in terms of your eating, fitness, going to the gym. Don't do it myself, but I do recommend. So, so life after narcolepsy. So let me take you obviously back. I'm still living in Angola at this point, and because obviously I had to go back, and it was a very difficult time because living in a country with absolutely no awareness of narcolepsy or medical support, or even medications, they don't have any of those. So it was a difficult journey to kind of go through it by yourself because, I kind of, after my diagnosis, I really thought that everything was solved. I thought, okay, not a cure, but cool, I'll take the pills and, my life will go back to normal, and that's not really what happened. For the next 2 years, I navigated, thinking everything's good, everything's fine. And that's why I share with you this beautiful picture of this, robot. Basically, this is me on my 30th birthday. So I share this picture because, I look completely normal. I look fine, but it was a very difficult night. So I was working a long time and I wasn't doing well with the medication at all. And in this picture, this is probably the last memory I have of my birthday. And it was the beginning of the night because I was that tired. I was not respecting my, naps and my sleep schedule. A lot of people actually thought I was drunk, because I was going in and out, but I was just very, very tired. So basically the same week, that was kind of when my life started to change because of the medication. I remember it was 3 a.m. About exactly a week later. So it was this Friday. And I'm in my room, I'm working, at 3 a.m. And I start seeing these things, and at a time, like I actually thought they were mosquitoes. It's just these flashes of something flying about. And I remember thinking, okay, that's so weird, because mosquitoes, I'm usually the first one to get bitten in the room, but, nothing was happening. And after that, I basically had just a decline, and I really had to put my health first. And I came obviously to the inevitable conclusion that, living in a country with no support maybe wasn't the best idea. So that's when I moved back to Portugal. So the future, this is me now. I moved to Portugal, obviously, after that. And I think maybe due to the pandemic as well, I really had time to stop, just stop working, really focus on my self-care. And, this picture is just to embody that Zen moment that I hadn't had, to really respect my illness, and to research about it, to find the community, and to really accept it, because I hadn't during all that time. I was still trying to be normal, let's say, even though there's no such thing. But I took care of myself. I got a good doctor, good medical support. And one particular thing that helped me, especially in terms of, doing my blog, was coaching. I started with a life coach, and she obviously was another reason that really empowered me to publish my blog and share my story with everybody. So raising awareness. So I think it's very important to say that because of low awareness, even among physicians, and misperceptions, there is an average of 8 to 15 years between narcolepsy symptom onset and diagnosis. Like, I said 13 years to get my diagnosis, so it's very on point. And it's estimated that the majority of people with narcolepsy are currently undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. Common misdiagnoses include epilepsy, depression, and schizophrenia. So that's under 50%, that's crazy. And as you can see, if I take you just back quickly to that moment of the last slide, when I had the moment of seeing flashes, which was another hallucination, that was the inspiration for my blog. Because you, as a person with narcolepsy, you're kind of in and out, all the time. And like I said, Project Sleep was a big influence on all of my, advocacy work. And I'm just going to take you quickly, through the pictures. I was part of the World Narcolepsy Day Committee last year. Me and my friend Curly, actually do support meetings 3 times a week now, which is called Naps for Life on Facebook. So if you want to join that, we're always here to help. And then I actually was part of this panel with Avadel Pharmaceuticals, which, you tell your story. So, to kind of get more awareness out there as well, especially to the pharmaceutical companies. And then obviously all the beautiful Project Sleep work again, which is more than I can count. And a lot of podcasts, 2 podcast interviews, not a lot. And now obviously doing my freelance writing. That's a picture of this article that I wrote that was narcolepsy from a different perspective. So looking at it from my sister's perspective, So yeah, I think it's just the importance of getting a story out there is very important to me. And finally, so I'm sharing my story today as part of the Rising Voices of Narcolepsy, a program of the nonprofit organization, Project Sleep, that empowers patient advocates to share their stories and improve public understanding of narcolepsy. So thank you for listening to me during all this time. Thank you, Julie.
Yay, Iris. I'm clapping on behalf of other people. Yay.
Thank you.
Great job.
Should I stop sharing?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good job. Oh my goodness, we're getting lots of hearts, lots of hearts on lots of great comments, and you've really sparked a lot of people sharing bits of their story, empowered by you, and you opening up about these, really impactful parts of your journey. I think I probably would say that everyone has resonated with all of those vignettes or those stories that you shared. There was at least one comment for each one to say, oh my God, that's just like it, or that description is just so true. So So shout out to some of our participants. I'm sure there's more locations than what I have, but we have people in Virginia, California, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I just saw Curly on there, so I know we have UK.
Hey, hi, Kelly.
And then Brian, I'm forgetting where Brian's from, but anyway, we got a lot of locations, a lot of people here. So thank you guys again for tuning in. And please send over your questions for Iris. And I'll go ahead and start though with a few questions as people are thinking of the questions to ask you. So let's see, there's so many amazing parts of your story, Iris. I wanted to quickly go back to you talking about work, and this, I think it's just such a powerful point in your story that you said that you kind of had to take this like pause, possibly, you know, like it sounds like when you first diagnosed, you're just like, go forward, keep going, you know, same normal me. And then eventually things got so bad that you had to take a pause. And so, you know, that's hard. Just tell us more about like what that was like. You know, what was it like to return back to Portugal? And all that?
Yeah, at 30 years old, to go back living with your mother, you know, when you were kind of already in such a big position, because I was already, you know, leading my own team, you know, head of department, you know, I had my house, my car, my independence, and to have to take that step back and, well, 10 steps back, you know, and admit that you can't, and you're kind of being really detrimental to yourself, and you need to respect your body. Although you kind of want to carry on as normal, you can't. And obviously your family gets very worried as well, you know. I think it's important to say that, because my family, nobody was aware of what it meant to have narcolepsy. So if I said I was fine, people would take it like I was, you know. And I am that person that I'm not going to say I'm not fine, because I'm fine. You know, I can do anything. I'm a superhero. It's fine. So it was very important, because by the time my family noticed, you know, because obviously I was forced to, you know, concede, you know, when I started having these hallucinations, you know, my sister like had to be like, okay, I had to go stay with my sister and everything. And that's really when she kind of saw like, I'm not fine, you know. Because if you don't see them every day, you're old, you're an adult, then it's hard, it's easy to hide, you know. I just think you have to, you know, respect your body and just not be ashamed to say, hey, I need help, you know.
Yeah, I think that's just so important and so empowering. So thank you for sharing more about it, so other people can feel if they've had to go through something similar. Not that it makes it all right or all better, but at least that they know what you said, which is that you had the same feelings, you know. So okay, so I guess Curly is in Germany right now, so sorry about that. So we got Germany, we got Houston, Texas, we got Washington State here, and we have Leeds, UK. So we still got the UK covered, don't worry.
Yeah, they better be here.
So lots of different places. And okay, so Jill has a question. She would like to know if you've ever had to give up any part of your life, like social life, I always gave up. So.
Oh yes, that's a really good question, actually, because I think you know, obviously I didn't say it within my story, but you know, meanwhile, after my diagnosis, I was actually in a relationship, you know, and it's very different when you're in a relationship and you both go out and you party, and you know, you have a very active social life. And after my diagnosis, I couldn't do that as much. And I think it's difficult sometimes for people to adapt and accept. And that was something that I definitely had to give up, you know, because if you have to be with somebody obviously that maybe understands, and that maybe is okay with you being slow, or like, or it's just maybe a homebody. You know, go with a homebody. So there are a lot of things you have to kind of change in your life, and I think especially in work wise as well, you know, maybe there are limitations to things that you can't do, and I think I've definitely learned that. I worked in event management. I had to give that up because, the crazy hours that we keep in events. So a lot of things I had to give up my country, give up, my life really. So yeah, a lot of things that I had to give up. But I think everything happens for a reason, and nowadays I'm very grateful that happened, because otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. So yeah, you just have to see it as it's, you give up, but it takes you somewhere else that's better and yeah, more positive.
So you did events, you've done marketing, you have all this great, all these really incredible skills. You're personable. There's so many things about you. I can go on and on. You're funny.
Funny looking, yeah.
So I was curious, when you think about narcolepsy awareness, I think, how do you think that perceptions of narcolepsy can increasingly be changed through social media or other marketing strategies?
I think there's a lot that we can do, because basically now I do a lot of, most of my advocacy is on Instagram, and Instagram's a great platform because, I just the other day I started doing these videos of like behind the scenes of narcolepsy, let's call them, so that people can actually see what we go through, because I have a lot of hallucinations of the earth shaking. I don't know if I'm the only one. I think there's like, earthquake going on, and I now have to like film, things, because I can't trust my eyes. And I shared that on social media. It was like, obviously I didn't put the whole 12-minute video on, but it's a way that people can kind of really see inside of our day to day. You can share it through articles, through everything, because unless you can make people kind of really be able to step into your shoes for 1 second and realize that it's not just falling asleep, that it's actually, that's the least of my worries these days. There's the cataplexy, there's the hallucinations, there is literally you not being able to trust what your mind is seeing or hearing or feeling. Just last week I had a huge hallucination again, that I was covered in bugs, and you itch for like days. So it's very important to tell people the little things, like burning my leg because I was holding a cup of tea and I had a thing of cataplexy and dropped it all over myself,
No.
Still got the scars. Yeah. It was painful. Those are the things that people will feel like, because they know that pain, so you got to make them feel.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's you're doing a lot. So we're really proud of all your efforts, and hopefully we can just continue to, I think that there's just so much more awareness is being raised. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we
It's
have a question
important.
from Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Brian wants to know just a little bit more about your medication experience. How have you responded to medications long term? Have you had building up tolerance issues or trying new combinations, etc.?
Oh God, Brian, all of those. Like, literally, I first started with a medication that after 3 months, I literally was like taking Smarties, like, it didn't do anything. And I changed it to another one, which was very powerful, and it just didn't agree with me. And I think that was the one, that I kind of kept on, but really changed my life, because it just didn't agree with me, but I thought it did. And I think with medications, you have to keep trying. If something doesn't fit, do not force it. Like, just keep trying something else, But like, I don't know if I mentioned, obviously in Portugal, we have 2 options. We're not like the US. We do not have the options that you guys have there. So we're very limited. And I think what's important more than that is to the sleep health, to, sleep like regularly at the same time every day, no matter what happens. Take that nap. The nap makes a huge difference. 1 p.m. every single day, I have a nap. That's, no matter what I'm doing. and it's non-negotiable. And I know that obviously I can't eat certain foods, like because make me feel really heavy. I think all of that is way more important sometimes than just a medication. Don't always. I know people that don't depend on medications for that. So it depends on you.
Great answer. All right. So Curly wants to know, how did you get diagnosed so quickly that you you basically flew there? You must have had the sleep study really quickly to be
Yeah,
diagnosed, or how did that happen?
I did. Well, because I think just the fact that I had kind of researched myself first, and I knew that was what I had. So I knew exactly who to go to. So obviously in Portugal, we have, special sleep clinics. And I went straight to that. And I said, hey, I think I have narcolepsy. I just need you to prove that. Like, I just need you to, medically have a certificate that says that. But I know I have that. And because it just, everything fit. And I think, obviously, it was easier for me because I went private. So, I paid a lot of money, to have like a really good neurologist look at me, and that's not always the case for people. I got lucky that my family was supportive, and they really wanted to help me, and they obviously financially helped me as well. That's not always the case, and I think when you go sometimes through the normal system, not knowing what you have, because conjoining all the symptoms together, you don't always realize that they're the same thing, one in the same condition. I think definitely doing my research a little bit before helped. That was key. Yeah.
Well, then you definitely answered that, which is because here you would never, the
No.
sleep studies you get, it's usually a few
Mm-hmm.
months before you can get in for a sleep study, if not 6 months or something crazy. So
Wow.
it's a long process usually. So
Yeah.
very, Curly gets an A+ for really listening very closely, because I actually I was doing
Yeah.
the same thing. So, and we had a misunderstanding. Curly's also in the UK. She thought Lauren was in Germany. Lauren now lives back in the UK. As
Yeah,
anyway,
Lauren. Yeah.
We got the UK covered. We maybe didn't get Germany tonight, but
It's okay.
yeah, I don't think I'm missing any other questions from the group at this point. I wanted to ask you another question myself. So if other
Mm-hmm.
people have questions, please put them in. My other question for you was thinking back to that time when you went back to Angola and were going on, life as usual,
Mm-hmm.
going on, and your 30th birthday. I mean, I just think that how you described, you said, here's a picture of a robot. Oh my God, here's me on my 30th birthday. And then it's just such a powerful point of your story, Iris.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think there's someone else could have said to you at that point to help you get to the point where you were when you finally got to Portugal sooner, or any kind of
Mm-hmm.
anyone could have intervened a little bit quicker to let you know maybe about the narcolepsy community, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I just kind of
I
curious when you
think,
were saying that.
yeah, I think that's actually, I've never actually thought about that. And I think that is very true. But I think if I had somebody in my life that was aware of narcolepsy, even if just socially or like, online, like if I had somebody that knew of narcolepsy and was aware of the condition, maybe, if they had reached out to me and just kind of made me stop for a second, because I didn't stop, and I think when you yourself have narcolepsy, or what it's like, and you see somebody with narcolepsy going at the pace that I was going, and doing so many things and working too much, you kind of, that that's not normal. You kind of know, like, maybe you're not being, respectful to your body. You need to kind of slow down. Maybe that would have helped, but I'm not sure there's anything anybody in my life at that time could have said, because especially because of how I am, when I think I'm fine and I'm doing something right, you cannot argue with me. I'm very stubborn, and I will go back and be like, I'm so sorry, I was wrong. But at that time, no. So that's just because I'm me, but hopefully with other people, they're not as stubborn as I am. So
No, that
yeah.
really makes a lot of sense. I just always wonder how we can, reach people sooner and help them sooner. But it's
Well,
always
if there
weird.
was awareness, if I'd seen it on the TV or something, like, maybe more advice, like I think that would have helped.
Yeah. Yeah.
External.
And so how did you find Project Sleep?
You know what? I think it was in my narcolepsy research, because when I came to Portugal, I really started researching it, and it was one of the first pages, I think, on Google. And I typed in narcolepsy, and Project Sleep came up. And, I started researching it. And I think I saw it was the sleep in, and then you had the Rising Voices, and it took me to the YouTube, because you have a lot of videos of the first Rising Voices on YouTube. And then through that, I went and you saw, because obviously you were doing, I think, a weekly Rising Voices during the pandemic in the beginning. It was every Sunday. So I thought, okay, they're doing it this Sunday. Let me see, one live. And from then on, I think I watched every Sunday, because you're like, oh, hey, Portugal. Hey, Portugal. You kind of remembered me as Portugal. So that was really, it was really cool, because I never thought that was a possibility for me,
Yeah.
like I didn't think people would want to listen.
Yeah. I was really, really proud of you. I remember when you published your blog. Oh,
I reached out to you on Twitter, I think.
yeah. I was
I
really
didn't even
proud
know
of you.
you.
I think that, a lot of people say they want to do stuff, but when I saw that you'd created this beautiful blog, you had taken
It was
action,
like
you know?
instant. You were like, hey, I just saw it.
Yeah, but that was just really impressive because you'd really stepped up and done something, and I could just tell that you were going to be invested in this in a real way. So it just was a really awesome thing to see, and
I was
so
very shocked that, yeah, I didn't think you'd reply at all. So
yeah.
thank you.
And then as far as let's see, we have one more question here. Um, do you do you think the narcolepsy day in and day out has molded into the person you are today?
Oh, definitely. I mean, literally, it is me, and I think, if you go to Project Sleep, obviously, I wrote a poem very shortly ago, and it's called The Pretty Ugly Truth. And in the poem, I say, narcolepsy, it is all that I am and all that I touch. And I can't separate myself from that, but I don't want to, because I think it's given me so much. And sometimes I always say, I think sometimes you have to, like, whatever, I believe in the universe, and I think the universe gives you something, so that even though you see it as a bad thing, it's something that helps you relate to other people, so that you can be that voice for people, because if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be able to advocate like I am today. So I don't mind it anymore. We have a love-hate relationship. Uh, so there are a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't have this. But, it's a necessary evil, I see it as. And I just think it just, our community is so strong, and we're so supportive of each other. And it's just, I feel really proud to be in it. So as much as it's not easy, you know what? Life isn't easy for anybody. Whether you have it or not, obviously makes it harder, but it also gives you other stuff, try and see the good and the bad. So yeah. I hope that answered it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's everyone has their own journey, I think my favorite word my favorite word recently has been evolve, that we evolve over time and we're always
Yeah.
evolving. And I love seeing how much you've even evolved in a year, and I know you'll continue to. And I think that's wonderful. And it doesn't take away that narcolepsy is still hard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we all
definitely.
feel that. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
But
but
yeah.
um, Well, I just wanted to ask you one more question, which was, how was your experience with World Narcolepsy Day last year? And what did you help with? Because I know you had some very special jobs.
Oh my God, it was amazing. I miss our meetings. Like, honestly, I think that was great because it was really nice to be a part of something, that is just international and is raising awareness, and actually be able to share it with my family and be like, hey, this is how important it is. We have a day. And I'm part of that day, like, trying to help and everything. And it was so fun to just learn new things and be able to help. And obviously, being from Portugal and knowing Portuguese, that was even a bigger honor because I can translate the materials into Portuguese. And then obviously, helping with the Brazilian organization as well, which I'm still in touch with, and they are amazing. And it's just kind of uniting us internationally, which is, I think, all of our goals. The more our community kind of blends together and works together, the more the stronger we get, and the more our voice kind of strengthens and gets out there. So that was very key. It was a key moment, definitely, for me. So thank you.
Yeah, well,
And
you did a lot.
always here.
Yeah, you did a lot. I just thought it was one of the I don't know, things you might not realize that Iris did was she actually helped. We had a Brazilian amazing doctor who spoke during World Narcolepsy Day panel with other doctors around the world.
Yeah, Dr. Christine.
Yeah, Christy, she just felt a little bit hesitant about her English. And so Iris worked with her to make sure that, she felt really comfortable with her presentation. So, Iris was doing that behind the scenes over a few weeks, working with that doctor so that when she spoke, but she did a fantastic job, with your help. So that was really cool, kind of interesting side project that, no one even sees.
Yeah, no, it's true. It was fun.
Yeah. And I know Brian has a really powerful comment on here. I just want to mention about feeling like I'm going to just kind of paraphrase a little bit that with limited energy, maybe not being able to do as much as far as advocacy and awareness. And I think that's a really powerful point, Brian. And I just want to really acknowledge that. And also say that we do try to make different, this is how we think about it, Project Sleep, I'm sure other people do too, but different levels of engagement or different commitments, that something is like a 2-minute commitment versus like a half an hour versus something like Rising Voices is a very intensive program, but there's just different levels of engagement, and that I always also like to remind people that I really truly believe that this is a tag team effort. So none of us are good all the time. I'm not good. No. I was down for 2 days because I just had my second shot the last 2 days. I'm a little bit better today, but we are a tag team, all of us. So, please know that when you can give a little energy and time, we're passing that baton to each other constantly. And so no one is doing this perfectly or consistently or all the time. So just
trust me.
Yeah.
Even my Instagram, you'll see. I put it out there. The days where my face looks like, yeah. It's not easy.
That's when I'm not posting on Instagram because I'm like, I'm so tired. But it's, and also little steps. This is going to be a marathon over many years. I've also feel like I've learned that we're always going to need more awareness. Tomorrow, we're going to need more awareness in 10 years. So it's just pace ourselves and just take care of ourselves first.
You do 5 minutes, tomorrow you do an hour, whatever you can.
All right, so let's see. Curly wants to know, do you want to change and raise awareness in Angola?
Oh yes, that's my Mount Everest. It's Africa. Yeah, I really do. I mean, obviously it's difficult because there are so many other problems, especially with COVID and everything right now. There are other things that impact it, but it doesn't take away from telling your friends, from doing an interview, doing a podcast, whatever. If you can just tell one person, that's raising awareness. So that's what I'm going to try and do there, and hopefully bring awareness to Angola, from Angola to the world, so that maybe the world can help us, have medication there at least. That'd be nice.
Okay. All right. Well, let's stay in touch on that. It sounds amazing.
Thank
So,
you.
all right, everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I just want to thank Iris for sharing tonight. I hope you get some sleep now that it's so
Oh
late.
yeah,
Yeah.
I will try. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Iris, again. Thanks, folks. We'll see
Thank
you in
you.
a few weeks. I think our next one is actually maybe towards the end of May. So, but just stay posted and we'll see you again soon. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.